of International E-Conference as an opportunity to heartily greet all the honorable dignitaries, participants, and delegates here at the virtual platform. The topic of today's International E-Conference is Grow Beyond Uncertainty, Color Outside the Lines. The college, Sri Kumar Swami College, Ausa, is well known for its innovative activities for researchers, students, teachers, intellectuals, academicians. Number of activities are going on simultaneously, and it is due to the academic leadership of Chief Organizer and Chairperson of World Record Webinar Series and International Conferences, Honorable Principal Dr. M. Ambedkar, sir. The college is affiliated to Swami Ramananda Tirth Marathwada University, Nanded. Today, for this International E-Conference, I welcome you, sir, as the chairperson of this International E-Conference. At the same time, I feel immense pleasure to inform all the delegates and participants from all over the globe that today among us we are having honorable dignitary, chief guest and keynote speaker, Marlene Foster ma'am from Tennessee, USA. The honorable speaker is going to enlighten us and enrich us on the topic Grow Beyond Uncertainty, Color Outside the Lines. The participants who have joined here are eager to listen your keynote speech. So without spending much time and remaining between the keynote speaker and audience, I would like to invite you, ma'am, for your keynote speech and presentation. At the same time, I welcome the organizing committee, Honorable Dr. M. Ambedkar, sir, and Ugade Prashant, sir. Now I welcome you, ma'am, for your keynote speech and presentation. Please, ma'am, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here today. And thank you so much, Dr. Badkar, for the invitation. And I was so impressed with the presentation yesterday. So impressed. And I heard that you were as well. But I'm looking forward to referring more speakers, to your organization. I'm truly impressed, and it's a pleasure to be here today. And I will be talking to you again about grow beyond uncertainty, color outside the lines. Have you ever been asked or requested to do something that was unexpected? I was actually at a seminar. I was invited to a seminar. And before going, I had to, take care of my daughter, 3-year-old daughter. And so this is something I was really excited about because it was something I could do personally for me, because I spend so much time in business and taking care of family, until this was just something that I was just dying to get to. I had been following this author, reading books, all of that. And so my daughter that morning had me running after her. Then when it was time for breakfast, I fixed breakfast for her. And she decided, I don't like that. I don't want that. And she said, you fix that every day for me. And I said, okay. So anyway, and then they were running after each other through the house. And I felt as if my heels were run over before I even left the house. That's how I felt. And then after running after her, I fell, and my mother stood and laughed at us. And so she said, look, you need to just get up, go. I know you've been looking forward to this. I said, I have. I really have. She said, well, look, I've got this and you can go. So I got to the seminar, and A lot of times when I go to these type of speaking types of engagements, they have the delightful selection of black coffee, water, and a cookie. This time, I was so happy to see turkey sandwiches, and there were fruits there on the table and different types of teas. So, I mean, this was exciting for me. I know that a lot of the guests there probably didn't think of it the way I did, but when you're there at home with a 3-year-old, and then I'm on the road traveling a lot too, there was a lot. So my day had been very eventful before I even got there. So I got a sandwich and I got fruit and went to find a place to sit. And there were, I mean, some guests there who I was dying to get to meet. They were sitting there, they were networking and having an incredible time. So I sat down and pulled up a chair and I decided I would just introduce myself. And so the host came up to the platform and he said, welcome everybody. Glad you're here with us today. I hope you're enjoying your lunch. Hope you're networking, all of that. He was just very excited. He said, but I've got something to tell you right now. The keynote speaker had an emergency. He won't be here today. And I said, oh, no. Oh, no, 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 no. I was so disappointed. No. So he said, but we're still going to have a keynote speaker today. You're still going to enjoy yourselves today. So just continue eating lunch and enjoying the networking sessions. And we'll be right back with you shortly. So he came down from off the stage and walked down the side aisle, and he was just walking, and our tables were to the right of him as he's walking down the aisle. So he's looking at us, and so we were so busy, we're so engaged with one another, we really didn't notice what he was doing. He got to the table where I was seated. I think I was like the 5th chair down. So he came along that row, and he sat beside me and said, Marlene, I've got a situation here right now, and I really need help. Will you please help me? And I looked at him, and I promise you, my attitude was, well, maybe I can tell him today I'm having a bad hair day. Maybe I can tell him that my heels are run over. Maybe I can tell him that I didn't prepare for this. I'm not ready to do this today because I'm not ready. And so I looked at him and I saw the kindness in his eyes. I said, okay, I'll do it. And so the presentation was well developed. It went well. And I was happy that I did it, guys, because the outcome from that presentation, actually, there were people who came up and invited me to do paid speaking engagements after that presentation. And I was so excited. I said, well, that's the reason today I want to talk to you about attitude. This is about your attitude, ladies and gentlemen, because when you are looking at uncertainty is nothing more than how you react to change. How did you react to change last week? How did you react to change last year? I mean, how you're reacting today to change. And change is nothing to be afraid of, but we do have fear. Fear is there. So I'd like to ask you also, how would you feel if you were a keynote speaker and something unexpected came up? I was in a church. I was going to speak to 100 guests, 100 guests, who were there. And I already knew I was prepared. I came with 150 brochures, so I'm 50 over, right? So I'm feeling good. Okay, if anybody extra shows up, I'm still all right. The minister comes up to the front and he says, Marlene, we've had some technical difficulties with some of the equipment in some of the rooms where there was meetings that were happening, and some of our guests were wondering if they could join us. So he said, there are a few of them. I said, oh, a few, right? There'll be a few joining us. He said, yeah, there'll be a few. So I said, okay. So I'm up front getting my display ready, getting excited about the presentation and everything, meeting new people today. And so he then comes up to me, later because it's time now to get started. So when I turn around, the audience still pretty much looked the same. And so he said, Marlene Foster graciously came forth today to speak with us about, investments. And also, she also started off with maybe 100 guests, and she's gone from 100 to 1,500 guests. And finally, I looked up into the balcony, and there were like tons of newcomers in the balcony. The presentation, went well. The audience was happy, and I felt good, about the presentation. And this was a church that had tons. I mean, they had several radio stations. They had all types of events that were going on. They also had television spots, and they invited me, ladies and gentlemen, to be part of that. So when you look, when you reach out and you cross the lines and you color beyond the lines, that's what happens for you. There may be fear, you may be afraid, but you have to decide that your attitude will have to just, take a chance. You have to take a chance. Chance it, and it will work out. And I wanted to say to you today, if you would please listen and relate, because I'd like to hear from you. I want to hear from you from the experiences that I'll be sharing today. If you could tell me how relatable it will be, for you as you're listening to me, in the comment section, I like to hear your, what's happened in your lives. So just get ready to comment. And at the end of the program, I have something else that I'd like to share with you about a challenge that I'm actually doing right now. And it's extremely empowering. So just hold tight and, don't leave, because there's something I want to tell you also at the end of the presentation. So when we're going to talk today about how uncertainty empowers three areas: family, business, and self-development. Because then, as you know, the power is in your hands, ladies and gentlemen. It's you. Because I just mentioned about your attitude. Your attitude is what actually makes you successful. You're going to feel fear. There'll be disappointment there and plenty of uncertainty. But you have to also know that even with that, you got to take that the uncertainty and say, I'm still going to move forward, and I'm going to color where outside the lines. And I think about Maya Angelou said, if there's something that you don't like, she said, change it. If you don't like something, change it. But if there's something that you can do nothing about, if you can't change it, what do? Change your attitude. Change your attitude. And we'll be talking about that also today, about that. And how many of you love Viktor Frankl? I love him. He's a great author. Viktor Frankl said that if you take everything you possibly can away from a man, take everything he's got, everything, just remove all of it. What is one thing that you can't take away from him? How many of you enjoy Viktor Frankl? I mean, I love Viktor Frankl's an excellent author. How many of you enjoy his quotes? But Viktor Frankl said that. And the one thing is what? Human freedoms. And that is, again, he talks about attitude, your attitude, and how you respond to the surroundings, how you respond to the outcome. It's all personalized, ladies and gentlemen. It's all you. You're the one. You're the one who decide what your attitude will be. You decide, the outcome. And so what we're going to do right now is we're going to move forward, and I'm going to talk to you about actually how the family, how you can actually empower family with uncertainty. How do you empower family? And then we'll talk about business and self-development. We'll start with family, because in every business owner that I've ever met or did business with, the first concern they had was family. That's always at the top. That's always priority. And I want to tell you, 4 days 4 days ago, my daughter, was out on the road traveling, and she called me at about 5 a.m. in the morning. And she said, Mom, you'll never believe that. She said, the hotel caught on fire. I said, what? She said, the hotel caught on fire, and the room where it started was two doors down from where I was. I said, I just went, oh my God. And do you know what really fascinated me about my daughter? I mean, I was honored to hear her say this. She said, but Mom, you know what I'm so happy about is that Ayana didn't come with me because I had planned to bring her with me on this trip. She said, Mom, I'm so happy that she stayed with you. I'm glad she didn't come with me. And that made me think about today what I want to talk to you about when it comes to family. And we think about our children. Look at all of the time and look at all how beyond all of us will go for family and for our children. For instance, medical insurance. When if you know like I do, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, or if they're at school, children get sick, right? And when they get sick, doctors are not always available because at 3 o'clock in the morning, your doctor's office is closed, right? So you can at least rush them to the emergency room. You've got the emergency room there that you can do that. So it's not, you don't have to say, oh God, okay, I've got to wait till the doctor's office opens. You don't have to do that. The emergency room is available to you. And so that helps us. We all have medical insurance. That's right there. That's going beyond. You're going beyond when you have medical coverage. Because I actually know a few people who don't have it. And I say, are you kidding me? You've got to have medical coverage. You've got to have that in place because that's again unexpected. You never know what could happen. And you need to have coverage in place. Another thing, nutrition. Most of us, we look at how we're feeding our children. We feed them healthy meals, right? What about what I see a lot of families doing now on YouTube? And that is instead of purchasing ice cream from the store, they're taking fruit and they're blending the fruit and making it into ice cream for children, making it healthier. And so again, that again is going beyond. That's a parent that's going beyond. Instead of going to a grocery store, they're taking time to do something even more nutritious. And then I want to also mention about estate planning. And that's something that we're uncomfortable with. But you've got to take care of the estate planning, ladies and gentlemen, because although it's like a business, you're building your business, but you got to also learn how to protect it. You got to protect your child, protect the family, because if something were to happen to you, what's next? How will that child thrive? How will the person whose hands you've left them with will be able to take care of your child if there's no monetary assistance there? So estate planning needs to be done. I'm uncomfortable with it too, but it had to be done, and so I did it. So we have to make sure that we take care of the family's needs. Think about the family's needs now. Think about what's necessary, ladies and gentlemen. Think about now what needs to be done. And thinking about my child when she was 3 years old. Again, I had a lot of eventful times with her when she was 3. But at 3 years old, there was a lot of activity in the news about centers. Children were dying. They were suffocating aboard vans. They were suffocating in the centers because these people who were actually taking care of the children, they were leaving them behind, and they were turning the air off in the center, and also then they left the children aboard the vans. And so my mom and I did not feel comfortable with my daughter going to one of the centers, and I could see my mother needed a break. She was she was taking care of all of her grandchildren, and then now it was me. I was the very last one to have a grandchild for her. I'm the middle child. She said, "You the one who was last." I said, "Yeah, I'm last." But she was so tired, guys. And so I decided that something needed to be done, right? Because I love my mom and I love my daughter. So I want to ask you if you wouldn't mind, because I'd like to read this. Comment and tell me what you think I did. What do you think I did to help my mom and to keep my daughter safe? I didn't put her in a child care center, but it's something that I did do. Tell me what would you have done if something like that were on the table and you needed to keep your child safe, but you don't want them in the hands of a stranger, and your mother is just completely run down. What would you do? Right? Okay. Comment for me. Tell me what you do. Now, let me tell you what I did. You already know that I travel, right? I'm traveling. I'm on the road. I'm gone a lot. I'm gone sometimes 4 or 5 times days out of the week. I'm away from home. I took my daughter with me, guys. I stepped out. I stepped out far beyond. I colored way outside the lines. I took a 3-year old on the road with me. And you'll never guess what happened. I was a keynote speaker at times. I had to do presentations. Then there were times when I did workshops, and there were times when there were just one-on-one consultations. And my daughter sat in the seat. This 3-year-old sat there, and I gave her books and toys. And sometimes she would just, maybe place her head to the side and sleep for a little while. But when I was on stage, keynote speaker, can you imagine a 3-year-old sitting on the first row, sitting there with the little white tights on, with kicking her legs and everything? But that's all she did. She didn't disturb anybody. She didn't disturb. And the one thing that she did from time to time that I enjoyed, she would look up at me and we would have an eye-to-eye contact with each other. And she would do this with me. She would do this. Let me know I was doing all right. And I would say, and the audience would say, yay, Marlene just gave her mom the thumbs up. And I said, how endearing. I said, and that would really make my day, everybody. So I want to say to you, when somebody tells you you can't do something, you have to, you. And there are times when you may be able to get away with doing something that maybe somebody else can't do. So when I was told by family and friends, you cannot take her with you on the road like that, because I traveled all over the United States. I mean, I was always in different cities, and my daughter, I would take her from time to time with me to give my mother a break. She was with me, and I enjoyed it. My daughter enjoyed being with me. And then I didn't miss her as much as I was missing her before, because she was always with my mom and I missed her. So I'm saying today that family, we have to learn how to, again, we have to empower uncertainty within our families. And then sometimes you got to just step out and just say, well, today this is what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to do this. I'll do something different. Next, let's talk about business. How do you how do you use uncertainty to empower business? And as you know, the pandemic affected all of us. Wouldn't you agree? The pandemic opened the gates, ladies and gentlemen, for me to have some of my best colleagues, my best friends live in countries all over the world, because I started a spotlight podcast and I invited people who had actually lost their jobs, their businesses who had shut down, closed their doors. They came and they spoke with me, told me what happened, and then they told me what they were doing now and what the pandemic actually had put in place for them, just like myself, because I never interviewed until the pandemic. I had never interviewed anyone. I've done public speaking before, but never interviewed. And so I was inviting, because of the Great Resignation as well. You remember the Great Resignation, when it was finally a change there, because most of the time you see employees do what? They pursue the businesses, don't they? They're the ones in pursuit. And now there was a change there. Now you found businesses were standing there empty handed, because The employees were now leaving. They were resigning and they were going out on their own, and they got tired of the lack of self-worth within the companies. And so they decided they were going to try something new. And so those are some of the people that I spoke with on my spotlight. And I interviewed them and I said, now that you've left, what will you do? And they said, Marlene, better than what I was doing before, much better than I was doing before. So interviewed them, and I interviewed businesses that talked about what their plan was in order to get get the employees to come back to them. They said, Marlene, I know what's occurred. I know what I did wrong. I know what I can do at this point to encourage employee retention, strengthen it. So that's what I did. I spotlighted them. And on the podcast, there were people who came forth and said, Marla, I've never interviewed before. I was uncomfortable with it. But when I saw you, I saw that you get on there and you actually have conversations. Because, guys, I am a conversationalist. Just to get on and just talk at someone, that's not what I do. I have conversations with my guests. And so that's what I did. So I learned from them. I learned from people in Saudi Arabia. I learned from people in Africa. I mean, I learned from people just in every country in Europe, all over the place. It was endearing, though, how we were empowering one another. Now, when you look at business, and you probably say, well, uncertainty, most people are uncomfortable with uncertainty, right? But like I was saying to you, uncertainty is nothing more than how your attitude and how you view the outcome, how you view it. And so when I look at in business, why am I doing what I do today? You know why I have the passion that I have today? Because of my grandmother. Every summer, my sisters and I would fly, because I'm originally from Chicago, Illinois. We flew from Chicago to Memphis to here to see my grandmother. And my grandmother was waiting for us, as we thought we were going to have in the start, we thought it was going to be a vacation. But guess what? She took us, we did little activities. But you know what grandmom did for us? She taught us how to run the business. She had a small dry cleaners in a small community, and she taught us everything that you needed to know about running a business. She taught us customer retention, customer loyalty. She taught us how to meet businesses in the community. She taught us, how to conduct community affairs. In the community, we would always also, my grandmother was the leader in this. She would always create opportunities for money to be raised for homelessness. She was raising money for someone that couldn't pay their bills, if people needed food, if children needed uniforms for school, if they needed, the pencils and paper. My grandmother was there. I was there with her. I saw her doing this, and and the neighborhood loved her. There was also a warehouse in in this community. All of them brought their clothing to her. They loved her. And on the way to work, they passed all sorts of businesses on the way there. They passed humongous dry cleaners on the way to work, but they came to that little bitty spot in that little bitty neighborhood, and they let my grandmother service them. But she taught me all of those wonderful things. So in your business, it's great to grow your business like my grandmother did. But there was one thing missing. She grew the business, and my grandfather was ill at the same time. So there she was taking care of him. She was leaving the business sometime, running home, taking care of the caregiver, helping her, and then returning back to the business. And guess what? All of her customers will leave their packages at the doorway with their names on it saying, it's Marlene Foster, and I need you to do this for me today on the package. So they did not give up on her. They knew that what she was doing. So when my grandmother became ill, ladies and gentlemen, and the business had to be shut down, it hurt me. And I'll tell you why. It bothered me when it happened, because this was a reputable business. And one thing I left out that my grandmother did every Friday, guys, she barbecued chicken, hamburgers, and she would stand there in front of that business with us, and she would give away the food free food. And you know what the guys from the warehouse would do? They would come back and give her tips. The tips exceeded the amount of money that she spent on the food and the amount of effort that it took to even prepare it. And I said, Grandma, you making money and you're not trying to make money. And she said, I know it. And she told them not, you don't have to do that. And they said, but I want to do it. So they left tips for her. And so she just fit within that community, ladies and gentlemen. But the one thing, again, when she became ill and the business is now, my mom had to decide what to do about it because she couldn't run it. She worked for Internal Revenue Service. The business, guys, was liquidated. She sold it in parts. A reputable business like that could have trained someone to come on board. She could have trained them. We were too young at the time to take over the business because we were still in school. But somebody else could have come in and been trained, somebody from the neighborhood, and they could have paid my grandmother in installments. In installments, she would have accepted that, and or she could have sold it. And I want to tell you this: in businesses, the businesses that I've noticed who purchase other businesses, do you know the key factor? What we really look at that really draws them, that attracts them to those businesses, is that business is independent, is running itself outside of the business owner. So the business owner becomes ill, if he becomes disabled, if he were to die, if he decides, I'm tired, I'm giving up, I don't want to do this any longer. I'm getting ready to go over here and do business somewhere else. And I'm leaving. And but the business should be able to run itself. It should be strong enough, vibrant enough. It should be able to stand on its own 2 feet. I tell every business that I consult with, I'm going to show you ways that you can get your business where it's standing on its own without you. You don't have to feel uncomfortable about it because that shows again your success when your business can stand on its own like that, ladies and gentlemen. Now, when we're looking at also self development, and when I talk about self development, I'm sorry, but I get a little bit emotional at this point because when I talk about self development, it's the poem that Maya Angelou spoke of that I told you previously that said that if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, we're talking about the latter part of it now. If you can't change it, you have to change your attitude, right? In November, my daughter had a brand new baby girl. I already got one baby girl here who's 3 years old, and she had a second granddaughter. I was so excited, guys. I mean, just excitement just to have two granddaughters now. Just excitement. And and then I wanted to tell you that about maybe, I would say, a few months later, I was actually getting ready to right, co-author the book that I co-authored. The book Beyond Boundaries, Thriving in Life's Gray Zone. This book that I co-authored, I was writing my chapter of this book, ladies and gentlemen. And as I'm writing the chapter of the book, 2 weeks, 2 weeks after I started writing the chapter, my granddaughter dies. They told us she died of SIDS. I asked myself if I should continue writing this book. The lead author came and said, Marlene, that's why I came to you in the first place, because I knew you would be a really good fit here, a good fit for the book, because my chapter gives strategies. I'm telling you different ways that you can actually that you can protect yourself in business and protect the family and protect the employees and customers. So I had to make a choice. I had to make a choice about change, ladies and gentlemen. And so I sat and thought about it over the weekend when this happened. And I decided I would go ahead and write my chapter in this book. And the writing was healing for me. The writing healed me. And I'm telling you this from experience. This is not just something that I've observed or somebody else happening, or this just happened. She died in November. She was born November 2023. She died in January 2024. This just happened. My daughter is still struggling with this, and I'm trying to be there for her, be a support for my daughter. And there are times I try to hold back the tears and the sorrow so that I can keep moving forward. But my granddaughter is the purpose. She's the reason that I wrote this book, that I co-authored the book. So when I look at this book, this isn't just a book for me. This book symbolizes her. It symbolizes the love we shared when she was alive. And I want to just tell you, we're all facing something similar. We all do. And I want to say to you today that what I was telling you that I'm doing right now, it's called 500 moments of discomfort. 500 moments. And you know what that and it's a challenge that I've got. I'm inviting everybody. I'm inviting you to come on board with me, and let's write stories or even bring quotes that will show discomfort that you've experienced and how you exceeded it. See, this is where I started, Marlene, and this is where I am today, because what it does is we have learning to empower one another. We're empowering each other. 500 moments of discomfort, 500 stories that I'm looking to have written by the end of 2024. I'm inviting you to come with me on this journey. And let's empower somebody. Somebody will be uplifted from your story. Somebody out there will be. And then maybe this will be a journey also that will encourage you to one day write your own book. And speaking of writing books, I wanted to speak about teachers in schools, teachers who are authors. Can you imagine the impact they could have on students? Teachers that, and I'm sure there's some out there who are authors, but for their books to be used, look at how a teacher in a math class could use a story to engage class participation in her classroom. A teacher, a math teacher. I taught middle school. And I didn't have a book at that time, but I did write. I created stories. And my students were just excited. We used all different types of costumes. I had them to change into costume. And guess what happened, guys? They started reading more. I didn't have to say, read chapter 5 for tomorrow. They didn't have to do that. They did it on their own. You know why? Because they knew I was going to group them, and I did each day. And it came up with, I gave them a question, something that a particular leader was trying to accomplish. I said, now, today, you're the leader. You're the leader now. What would you do? And so I put them in groups, and each person had their different responsibilities within that group. And you know what happened as a result of it, though? A lot of them started reading. They started, and then a lot of them who people, a lot of the teachers didn't believe they could write. They were excellent writers. We discovered the writers in the classes. But teachers, I wanted to tell you, if you're out there and you're looking to write, and you say, "Mom, I don't know how to get started," contact me, because I do. I have a membership where I have writers from all industries, and we talk about it, and I help you, and I bring in professionals, and they'll give you pointers on writing, that kind of thing. And co-authoring. I'd love to see some teachers co-author books. Co-authoring because co-authoring gives you the time to get to know one another much better than before. The co-authoring does. So I just want to say to you again today that when you look at again your view on you, let's look at it today. Look at your attitude towards change. Look at your attitude towards change and know this, that the more you start to engage and be more confident about your attitude, the more you will start to what? Color continuously outside the lines. Thank you so very much today, and very and truly a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, Marlene, ma'am, for the wonderful explanations. Now it's a time for interaction. Dear participants are requested. Kindly, please, if you have any query or would like to share something, please do come ahead, dear participants.
Okay, thank you, thank you. So, okay, so we're gonna have a Q&A, because listen, I love Q&As.
Lydia, ma'am, would like to say something?
Okay, all right, Lydia.
Okay, then ma'am have explained so nicely, clearly. So there is no doubt the topic was new for us, but you have given the clear-cut idea and the concept you have clear. So thank you so much. Now I request the chief organizer of an international conference, our ideal principal, Dr. M. Betkar sir, to conclude the session. You are welcome, please.
Thank you very much. Thank you. No, Dr. Betkar, I want to say that if there was something that you need me to clarify for today, I'll be happy to do that. To make a clarification. So that when you walk away today, you can say, because mainly what I'm talking here today, the theme again is about how you view, how it's your choice. You are the one. You hold fate in your hands. Whatever it is that you're looking to do in life, it's all about you and your attitude. The resilience that you have in your attitude is what helps you to be able to achieve greatness. That's all I'm simply saying today, is that you're the one. You're in control of that. It's you. You make the choice. And resilience, as you know, you hear a lot of people talk about it, but it's all in your attitude. Some people have an attitude that I know this doesn't look like it's accomplishable, but I believe one way or the other I can do it. And they do. Well, we have a question. Hello, Beverly.
Hi, Marlene. How are you this
I'm
morning?
wonderful. Thank you.
And everyone else, I hope you're having a good day.
Yes.
Marlene talked about her grandmother and the experience. Tell us how your grandmother built that resiliency in you.
Oh my God. You know what, Beverly? She it's almost like when we first came down and she has to walk. We walked through the neighborhood and we met all of the neighbors, Beverly. We met the business owners. We got a chance to go around to the warehouse, where the workers were on their lunch hour. My grandmother would sometimes take pastries over there. She was a giver. My grandmother was a giver. That's how she influenced me, because I saw what I look at today with customer retention, which is my specialty. My grandmother, it came so easy for her, Beverly, and people loved her, because if you had an issue and needed help of some type, my grandmother was there for you. She was there. Like I spoke of how she would have us to do some type of community event, and she was always the leader. She was the lead person. So if there was a death, if somebody graduated from college, from high school, whatever, it is something that we could maybe, have fun with, then she always did something special for the community. But that's how my grandmother influenced me. Beverly, was that she was so tenacious, and she didn't make excuses. You know how some people want to make excuse, they want to blame somebody else. She
Yep.
said, Marlene, don't be a blamer. She said, if it's something you want to accomplish, she told me, go get it. She said,
Okay.
you can do it. And Beverly, that's what she said to me before she died. And my daughter was probably about 13 months at the time. But she said, Marlene, you are a go-getter. She said, you don't sit back and wait and see if somebody else can accomplish something before you try it. She said, you've always been like that. She said, keep going after it. Go get it. And that's how she was, Beverly. And that's how she spoke to me. And her actions showed it. And the neighborhood loved her. They loved her.
It's a wonderful role model to have. Thank you, Marlene.
Thank you.
Thank you, Beverly ma'am, uh, for the nice discussion with keynote speaker. Now I request the chief organizer of the series, the ideal principal, Dr. M. Bedkar sir, to conclude the session. You are welcome, please.
Thank you so much, everyone. It was a pleasure to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Musi sir would like to say something. You are
Okay.
welcome, please. Yes, sir. Musi Demisi, sir, please. You
Can you hear me
unmuted.
now?
Yes, 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 please.
Okay. Thank you very much, Marlon, for the invite. I've been following you on LinkedIn, and it's an honor and a privilege to be in here and then experience this valuable session. I'm very honored.
And you know what? And it's an honor to meet you because, ladies and gentlemen, this gentleman is truly impressionable. And so it's an honor for me to meet you as well. Thank you. And you know what? Keep on shining, okay?
Thank
Keep
you as well.
going.
Thank
All
you
right.
very
Thank you
much.
so much. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Me too. By the way, most people don't know this. They get it mixed up on LinkedIn. I'm actually a Christian, and I'm originally from Ethiopia.
Oh, okay.
Yes, but most people doesn't know this. All they know is, I live here in the U.S. for so long, but I came from Africa.
Hmm.
I'm from Ethiopia originally. So, I just try to say this in any occasion I can get so that the people get the clarity of, who you are as a person.
Yes.
I love and live in transparency.
But I know I always enjoy your posts. Always,
Thank you.
always do. And and thank you. So, and please keep sharing with us. Thank you.
Thank
Your
you.
positivity your positivity is enormous. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a blessed day.
You too.
Lydia ma'am also would like to say something. Please, you have raised your hand. Lydia ma'am.
I'm sorry. Did you say that was another question?
Lydia ma'am.
Okay. Lydia. Okay. Okay.
Oh, okay. Oh, can you hear me?
Okay, I can now. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I would like I would just like to thank all the organizers of this international conference. I am very happy I attended this conference, and good evening to each and everyone. I am here in the Philippines, and thank you very much, Marlene, for your great presentation. I felt very emotional too upon hearing the loss of your grandmother. So I'm very sorry for that loss, that I am praying for her soul. So you presented your topic in such a manner that you cover all the areas that you have to cover, wherein you have showed your great attitude, the resilience, the tenacity that you have to be as a person in spite of all the discomforts. I always read your post in LinkedIn. I followed everything, and you always bring out the topic about this discomfort. So I always ask myself, why is Marlene always telling us, the readers, about this topic on discomforts? So my question in myself is already answered because you have already experienced it.
Yes.
And I can relate with you topic very well because I too have experienced all these discomforts in life.
Mhm.
Number one, I think that made me say I can say successful too because of the attitude that I have, and this attitude is taught to me by my parents as well as your parents as well as your grandparents have done this to you. Yes.
Yes.
So congratulations. I am so proud of you. Thank you for all the organizers. Miss Lydia Chang, thank you. You invited me also here. So this is already an experience also for me to see everyone. Nice meeting you all.
Thank you, Lydia. And it was a pleasure to meet you today. Wow.
Thank you, Lydia ma'am. Thank you so much.
Actually, I am very happy to see everyone here. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
So,
Everybody,
thank
what?
you.
I have to tell you this. It's been a joy being here today. There's a lightheartedness about all of you, and I don't care what anybody say. I know we're meeting virtually, but you can always feel who you're talking to, and I'm looking at all of you, and I feel welcomed. I feel welcomed, and I just want to say thank you for that.
So thank you. Now it's a time to vote of thanks. Sri Kumaraswamy Mahavidyalaya Avsa, District Latur in Maharashtra State. As we all know that organized an internationally conference as well as the World Record Series. Today, Honorable Marlene Foster ma'am was there on the dais and have presented very well the topic grow beyond uncertainty and color the outside lines. Now this topic have presented so clearly in a simple language, though it was a new for us. Ma'am have explained while she was saying that to behave in a creative, unconventional ways to break the rules. Now, this is a very simple definition about the color outside the lines. Also, ma'am have explained what does to it mean to color outside the lines. Then the what do you mean the uncertainty? Also, what colors represent uncertainty as well as what it symbolizes uncertainty. All these points you have covered very well, ma'am. So thank you so much. Now I would like to say that only to dear participant that life itself is uncertain. We never know what happens in next minute. Just life is like a game. Let us play and enjoy your journey. Now this was the only message.
Sir, I want to put one comment, only one line, one line.
Yes, sir.
I want to say one line. There is a great sentence like this. We make a plan and he laughs. The God laughs on us. So that definitely I think the world is of uncertainty. Tomorrow, what will happen, where the war will take place and what will happen, we don't know anyone, but we have to be a little flexible and we have to think out of bracket. And I think that is the gist of today's lecture. Thank you very much, Dr. Betkar, sir, Principal, sir, Prashant, sir. Even after your vote of thanks and sir's comment, I'm making my point over here. Thank you very much, ma'am. Wonderful presentation.
No issue, sir. Thank you so much. You also appreciated this.
Yeah. But when patient came, and that is why I left, because the things will become disturbing. So I just take out my hand. Yeah, thank you, sir.
Okay, thanks to you all once again, the chief organizer of the series, Honorable Dr. M. Betkar, sir. And also, especially thanks Lydia ma'am, Beverly ma'am, and Musi Demisi sir for their nice interaction with the keynote speaker. And at last, I thanks to all their participants who joined regularly to the series. So thanks a lot once again to you all. Now kindly request please fill the feedback link which is given in the chat box. With the kind permission of chief organizer, I declare the session is over. Bye bye. Take care, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much to Dr. Betkar. A pleasure to be here. A pleasure meeting you. Thank you.